What's up, y'all? It's your boy Jason here with the Cow Park Bros. And of course, on behalf of my fellow host, Terrence, I just want to come to you and kind of say thank you for listening to us for all this time. And can you believe it's been almost 1 year, the Cow Park Bros? Yes. Our anniversary episode is coming up very fast. It'll be in April. So, again, thank you for all that time. Thank you for listening. And in fact, for our anniversary show, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear messages from you, whether it be go to our website, send us an actual voice message, or going to our voicemail, sending it that way, or just sending us a message on social media. We want to hear from you. We want to know what your favorite part of the Cowpart Bros is, what you've enjoyed the most, what you haven't enjoyed, what you love the most, favorite segments, favorite moments, whatever it may be. We just want to hear from you. And whatever we receive, we're going to incorporate that into our anniversary episode and just enjoy the fact that, again, 1 year almost of the Cal Park Bros. And that wouldn't happen because of you guys. So thank you very much. And again, we want to hear from you. So again, make sure you go to cowparkbros.com, click on the message little button there. That'll give you the option to send us a voice message, which we can play on the show. Or you can go to 405-877-BROS. Call us there, leave a voice message there as well. Again, also want to use that for the show. And again, also, if you want to hit us up on social media or send us an email to cowparkbros@gmail.com, we'll take it that way as well. But make sure you get on that and do that so we can get that done. We can hear your voice. We want to hear from you. All right. But always don't forget, when it comes to the Cow Park Bros, make sure you like us, love us, share us, and follow us. Because if you like us, why wouldn't you?
Welcome to the Cow Park Bros podcast. I'm your host, Terrence, and with me is my co-host, Jason, calling in from the Bat Cave in Indianapolis. Jason, how are you, my good man?
I'm doing very well, despite this being the 45th episode, and we know what person that number is associated with, unfortunately. But we're going to move past it. Still have a great episode. Keeping Cow Park Bros great as always. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I was going to go with this is the Birmingham Barons episode.
I don't think anybody outside of Chicago is going to get that reference. And even some of them, I don't know. So if you're a Bulls fan, you get it.
The fucking squad was in Birmingham. For Christ's sake.
I still don't know. Okay, moving on.
I feel like you're selling the average listener short.
Okay, this is too long. Let's go.
No, that's what she said. Anyways, for the uninitiated and the uncouth, Cow Park Bros is the podcast to hear. We are a weekly podcast for fans of culture, current events, sports, life, and entertainment.
And as always, we are your hosts, Terrence and Jason. And every single Thursday, we bring you a brand new episode where we discuss the current events of the day, sports, and the athletes we love.
And even some of the athletes we loathe. No matter the topic, you can expect a brutally honest and fun exchange of snark while learning through the lens of our 30 years of friendship that originated in Calumet Park, Illinois.
And folks, for more behind the scenes of the Cow Park Bros show, and just to engage with us every single day, make sure you hit us up on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. That's where all between the segment stuff is. And again, just engage with us every single day. But most importantly, make sure you go to whatever place you listen to us. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to us because it's free to do so. Make sure you do that. Right now, do that.
Like us, love us, share us, follow us. And folks, if you like us, hell, why wouldn't you?
Like Terrence always says, we got the podcast to hear and watch. So make sure you live it, love it, and do it.
Yes, sir. All right. Coming up in the first segment, you will notice that the Cow Park Bros podcast did not cover the Winter Olympics, at least in comparison to where our coverage of the Summer Olympics was. And that's no accident, because frankly, it was kind of avoidable. It was not nearly as noteworthy as the Summer Olympics. And the only reason, frankly, that the Winter Olympics were noteworthy, other than some standout curling, I'm going to say it stood out for the fact that you could fail a drug test and apparently still compete. I'm referencing an article from NPR by the journalist Bill Chappelle. Sha'Carri Richardson sees a double standard in allowing Kamila Valieva to compete. U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson is calling out Olympic and anti-doping officials after Russian skater Kamila Valieva was allowed to compete despite testing positive for a banned drug. Quote, "Can we get a solid answer on the difference between their situations?" Richardson asked on Twitter. after mediators ruled that Valieva should be allowed to skate in the women's individual competition in Beijing. The only difference I see is that I'm a black young lady. Richardson said, "It's all in the skin," she added. Now, for those that may need a little bit of a refresher, Sha'Carri Richardson won the 100-meter race at the United States Olympic trials early last summer, 2021. But after she popped positive for THC, for the uninitiated, that's weed. she was denied a chance to compete in the Tokyo Olympics. THC is on the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of prohibited substances, but so is trimetazidine, which is the drug that was found in Valieva's test sample. The hard drug is believed to be able to boost athletes' endurance and blood efficiency. In other words, one of these is a performance enhancer, and the other one ain't. So, based on the premise, Jason, what are your thoughts based on Sha'Carri Richardson's basically complaint saying, "Hey, where's the energy for this athlete that was there for her?"
Yeah, going back a little bit. So as you mentioned, like I said, we intentionally didn't talk about the Winter Olympics because, let's be honest, most of America doesn't pay as much attention to that as they do the Summer Olympics. So we weren't going to talk about it. Now, of course, I heard the rumblings about this Russian skater, and the doping, things like that. I didn't pay that close of attention. One, I wasn't that interested, and two, we weren't going to talk about it until Sha'Carri Richardson chimed in and said, "Hey, basically, what's the difference between my case and hers?" And I hadn't even thought about that comparison until she brought it up. I'm like, that's a good point. What is the difference here? So definitely, she raises a valid concern. I will say the CAS, the investigative team, and also the IOC did kind of give some insight into what went into their decision to still let her compete. And so basically, they took into consideration Valieva's age, noting that as a child, she cannot be held to the same legal and moral standards as an adult athlete. And they felt that that if they took away her right to compete as a 15-year-old, that would have done, this is a quote in here, irreparable harm if she were not allowed to compete. So they said those are factors considered in making her decision. Now supposedly the compromise they said was, well, if she medals, we won't have a medal competition. Which she didn't. Which she wound up not medaling, so they still had a medal competition. But those are things that they mentioned publicly, at least. Again, publicly, as to why she was still allowed to compete. They felt like it would do more damage to her because she's 15, or she shouldn't be set to the same standards as an adult. In this case, Richardson, for example. Now, I'm not a parent. You are. I'm sure you might understand this next thing I'm going to say. So you're worried about the harm she's going to cause by not letting her compete. What about what you're teaching her by letting her compete, even though she had it in her system? No matter how it got there, it was still in her system. And as you said, it is a performance enhancing drug, whereas THC is not. And obviously, the IOC and the CAS did recognize that and acknowledge that weed isn't. It's just banned. I also want to note that Valieva also had two other substances in her doping test that did the same thing as the one that was banned. The only difference was the other two weren't banned, so she was okay for that. So it definitely raises a valid question. I mean, obviously they provided whatever insight they could into their reasoning, which I can tell by looking on your face.
They could, or just like, good enough.
Yeah, I mean, even if that is the only reason, even if it is, that's still a bogus reason, just because she's a minor, really. And then bring up the whole legal aspect of it. We're not talking about legalities here. All we're talking about is the competitive advantage. It's not even that. It's whatever she had in her system was a banned drug. It's even more performance enhancing than THC. So it's kind of like, okay, is it really just the age thing? Is it something else? Because that answer is very weak, completely weak, and it sets a very bad precedent for anybody else who's a minor and does the same thing. Because now what they go forward and suspend that person who's a minor. It's like, well, wait a minute, what's up here? So yeah, whatever information they put out there is very weak, and I'm very disappointed in that. So yeah, what are your thoughts, sir?
My initial thoughts is they don't give a good goddamn about that kid's feelings. They do not care about that kid's feelings, emotions, or any of that shit. So that that's about as big a piece of malarkey as cut the malarkey as I can imagine, because they're not focused on nothing about the Russian Olympic machine, as I like to call it, has anything to do with any of these kids' feelings. Let's take Russia out of it for a second.
Can we do that right now? Can we take
No,
Russia
because
out?
this
We need to take
because
Russia
this
out of Ukraine, Terrence.
yeah,
I'm kidding. Totally kidding. Folks.
Jesus.
No comment.
I so basically what they're trying to say is, oh, she's a child, ignoring the fact that when you compete in the Olympics, no one's competing on their own island. Everyone's got some sort of governing state body behind them, United States included, and no one is kind of an independent. So it's not just about whether or not Valieva's feelings were hurt. It's about the fact that you're letting the machine that is conducting their business using either minors or adults to do their bidding. And so for the governing body to kind of hide behind this athlete's age, frankly, it's a chicken shit move. Um, I think Shaqiri had a point. I think if you're going to if you're going to make the argument that, oh, well, these are banned substances, I think at least if you're going to prevent athletes from participating, at this point, pick a standard. Like, I think it's sad as hell. They don't give a damn about that kid's feelings. If anything, that kid is probably harmed worse because they were subjected to go out there. They're It's a lose-lose situation. Let's just say she medals. Then people are gonna wonder, well, of course she medaled. Like, she's been cheating this whole damn time. She's supposed to medal. It's like Tom Brady in the Flakegate. I'm like, well, shit, you know what the PSI is supposed to be? Hell, you supposed to win. Like, if you're gonna cheat, at least cheat well. So she
And
was set up to fail. She was set up to fail. She was effectively a sacrificial lamb. And that's not to say that I feel bad for her. And it's also not to say that I don't feel bad for her. I'm simply stating they don't give a damn about that kid's feelings. These governing entities do not give a shit about that kid's feelings. So stop that. Um, yeah, they can't even keep dope out of the fucking Winter Olympics because they're basically just flirting with, well, let's let's just see how she does. Is basically what that boiled down to. I'm like, why? Why? If you gave a damn about that kid's feelings, you would not have put her out there. That's all I'm gonna say.
another interesting point that Shikari pointed out is, if you recall, um, she came back and got suspended very quickly. You know, after news of her, positive test got to the media, she was suspended very quickly. And whereas Valieva's test result was submitted to the IOC CAS way back in December. And keeping in mind, folks, that the Winter Olympics didn't take place until this month, and it was during those Olympics is when all this stuff came out about Valieva. So where is all so obviously somebody knew about this positive test way before this stuff even started, but yet somehow she still made her way to the Olympics, still was able to compete in the Olympics, and still had the option or possibility of getting a medal. Again, she didn't, so they still had the ceremony. And then also too, they're still actually investigating some of the adults surrounding Valieva as well in regards to other situations that happened regarding, again, doping and things like that. So obviously they still recognize that this could be a potential problem going beyond just Valieva, but yet they're still allowing her to compete. She was never suspended and still had a chance to medal. So why are you stopping at the adults here? I mean, I understand you might think she's a child. Is she still not an athlete? Or better yet, if you want to have that separation of the fact that she's a child, so she has a different standard, then stop letting minors participate in the Olympics. Keep it all adults. I mean, if they're that fragile as kids, should they be competing against adults? But they are. So hence the same standard should be upheld to everybody. She was busted 2 months ago. Well, excuse me. She submitted a test 2 months ago. And I know for a fact, and I'm sure you do as well, Terrence, anybody listening, any drug test I've ever submitted for a job didn't take 2 months to come back positive or negative. You got that junk in a matter of 5 days at the longest. So clearly somebody knew about this well before the Olympics even started, well before she had to get on a plane to go to the Olympics. So personally, what my mind goes to, besides the obvious potential racism here, and yes, I said it, is complete corruption. I'll say I don't have any facts on that. I don't have any videos of money exchanging hands. I'm not a hacker. I can't hack into anybody's bank account. But it does seem very odd. All of a sudden, somebody's just allowed to compete. Just a matter of months before somebody else in a different sport, different age apparently, was suspended for, again, different drug, but for the same general principle. That's why somebody should be suspended and not able to compete. Now, granted, her suspension would have been up before the Olympics started, but she would have been suspended during all the trials and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll say I don't hope this. Obviously you want to hope that everybody's clean when they're competing, but obviously we know that's not the case. But I really hope. I actually want to see it. I want to see what happens when another minor gets busted for doping, whether it be Winter or Summer Olympics, whatever, and see how the IOC handles that. Whether that person be white, black, Asian, Indonesian, Sweden, Polish, whatever. How you react to that, because it's going to be another minor. Now what? Hopefully not somebody from Russia, because I want to see that difference there. Hopefully it has nothing to do with that. But it seems very odd as to why she was allowed to compete. Even if they somehow didn't discover it till during the Olympics, which we both know is BS. That was your point right there. Once it hit the public media that the test was there, that was your point to suspend it right there. But they didn't. Why? Because they're afraid it would hurt her feelings and that would ruin her life because she couldn't compete in the 2022 Olympics. Well, guess what? She's only 15, which means even if she didn't compete, guess what? She'll be 19 in the next 4 years, right? So, hey, come on, people.
Yeah, in a lot of these sports, there's, for example, gymnastics. Some of these sports, there'll be the next crew of 15-year-olds. So in a weird way, I can imagine the pressure was on her to perform, even if she didn't want to perform, because it's one of those, well, you either do it or they'll find somebody else.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm saying that the minor may have been under pressure to compete, even though she may not have felt like she wanted to or needed to, because it's one of those, well, you either do it or we'll find somebody else. That's why I'm saying it's a machine. It's not, we're not talking about individuals. We're talking about, almost got to look at it as like businesses, just mass conglomerate governments, because they basically are. It's basically corporate bureaucracy. It's just on the Olympic stage.
Are you talking about from the Russian Olympic Committee aspect or the IOC? Because I feel like that's not. I'm not disagreeing with your point, but that's more of a. There should be more of an issue with the Russian Olympic Committee, not the IOC.
I'm saying that's more from the perspective of the Russian Olympic machine, and not necessarily the IOC making the decision.
Gotcha. Fully agree, sir. Fully agree.
So yeah,
somebody has to be responsible for these kids, man. Somebody.
And it's not Vladimir Putin, I'll tell you that much.
Well, I don't know. He's got a lot of control over there, so who knows?
Yeah. All right. That concludes our segment on the Russian dope allegations from the Winter Olympics. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about the fact that 3G is getting shut down. Coming up next on Cal Park Bros.